knowledge on both ecosystems like biodiversity on the marine ecosystems as well as the terrestrial ecosystems. We incorporated everything into it, including the forestry, and we believe that in the future we will get more interns in the forestry sessions as well. So, Ashant, over to you. Dr. Ashant, over to you. So you can start maybe the sessions by sharing the slides and giving them an idea about your research and all. Okay, and next 2 days, Dr. Ashant is going to give the lecture. Over to you, Dr. Ashant, and a warm welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Jishnu. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, you are audible.
Yes, interns, anyone can. Is my slides are visible?
Yes, your slides are visible as well. And interns, please try to interact with the resource person. Then only you can learn more. Okay. So try to make it a more interactive sessions. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, Melvin. Hello.
Hello. Are you able to unlock or maybe unmute yourself, the audience or the interns? Can
Yes,
you
sir.
unmute? Okay. So please try to make sure that whenever he call your name, try to turn on the mic and speak or interact with the delegate, as we have very limited number of people today. That's one of our advantage, and make it more interactive. Okay. 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 All. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Melvin.
Yeah, can anyone tell me whether my slides are moving or not? I think Melvin
Yes.
will be my contact person. Melvin.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Good evening, everyone. As Jishnu told, I am Dr. Ashwath. I completed my BSc Forestry and MSc Forestry from Agriculture University, Shivamogga. It's a small campus of College of Forestry. You might heard about it. Since we're having a lot of time, I will give a brief introduction about me. Later on, I joined for my PhD at Kerala Agriculture University, and I completed my PhD in stress physiology as well as understanding some molecular basis for how the plants are responding to the some abiotic stress. Mainly, we worked on the drought stress. Okay. Uh, I hope everyone is having a clear idea about environment, what is climate, what is weather. Yes, you can unmute and you can be active, no problem. But don't create a mess, that's all. Because it's a group of 11 people, that will be not a big problem, I think. Hello?
Yes, I believe the same way. Like, if the people want to interact with the delegate, then they are open to.
Because since
And
only the interns are there,
yeah,
it will be better having an interactive session than be one-side session.
okay, okay. That's
Yes.
maybe you can call the names and ask them, as well as the students can raise their hand and make it more interactive sessions for our this webinar. Okay, yeah.
Yes, okay. Anyway, before starting directly into the what is physiological adaptation or how the plants are getting adopted, because the whole presentation will be looking around how the plants are getting adopted to the some unwanted situations which they are not expected to be. First of all, we all know that being a plant and animal, we are having a difference of mobilized and immobilized character. The plants are immobilized and they don't have any of the adaptation mechanism immediately for getting escaped from the adverse climatic condition, whether it's a heat, whether it's a light or whatever the flooding condition. But during the period of evolution and throughout the evolutionary process, they have undergone some of the adaptive mechanism, and also they're undergone for some expression, gene expression that can immediately make the plans to survive in the stress condition. So we will look into the things what exactly mean by stress, what is acclimatization, what is adaptation mechanism, and what is different kind of the stresses we are looking at around the growing period. So everything we will look into things. So we all aware about the thing now we are going for the climate change, right? Climate change is nothing but it is making a unfavorable condition even for the human being, humans being mobilized, and we are having a highly adaptive mechanism immediately to escape from the unwanted criteria or situations. But plants, they don't have. Basically, we talk about the pollution. We talk about the situations where we are getting harmed because of the floods, drought conditions. So plants, they are not capable of immediately getting adopted to these situations. So we will understand what exactly plants do when they undergone for some of the stress condition. Without making much of the time for the introduction, I will jump into the things, whatever here we will discuss. The first and foremost concept I'm going to discuss here is the homeostasis. So I hope, being a science students, you might know about the homeostasis. That is nothing but a simple process. It's a self-regulating process. What will happen there by the organism that will maintain the stability while adjusting to the condition that is optimal to survive. For example, if a plant need to survive in a location, it needs some quantity of water or some quantity of the light that will be received from the environment, and that will maintain a stability during the throughout the period. That is a simple term of homeostasis. Why I am talking about the homeostasis here means once there is a abruption in the climatic condition or the surrounding of the plants, so they will go for the getting adopted or getting changing their physiological and intrinsic activities, right? So what is homeostasis? That is a self-regulating process in which the organism try to maintain the stability when there is a change in the conditions or the adjusting the condition to the optimum survival. For example, if a plant need to get survived, it has to be get adopted to the situations or the environment so that it can maintain a stability or the survivability. That is a simple term of the homeostasis. But when there is a stress condition or the unfavorable condition, plants may not be achieve the homeostasis. There might be have a concept of tolerance, resistance, and susceptibility. Sometimes we will call the plants are tolerant for any of the stress condition, or plants are intolerant, or plants may be having the resistance to some kind of the stress factor. So simply, I will read whatever here written. That is, with the climate change and increasing environmental stresses such as drought, salinity, and temperature extremes, understanding the mechanism behind stress adaptation is a vital for sustainable production and genetic improvement program. So this is a simple thing why we have to understand the stress mechanism, how they are getting adopted, what is the benefit by identifying some of the stress improving or the tolerant practices. So plant development is being a, it is coming across n number of the factors with the environment, maybe the rain, maybe the it's a component of water, the temperature, even the biotic factors, like every day it will come across some of the pathogens, insects, and everything. These are the two main components. One is the living, one is the non-living, that is the abiotic and biotic components in the environment. So throughout the plant development, it will be having an interaction with surrounding area. So that is called as an environmental factor, and that will be define the plant development. Now we will define what is a stress condition. Stress is nothing but an external factor that exert a disadvantageous effect on the organism, or it is a change in environmental condition that adversely alter the plant growth or the development. So, for example, all of a sudden, if there is a huge rain, or it will be having a flood condition that is unexpected in the plant growth development phase. So this particular event is called as a stress condition. All of a sudden increase in the temperature, whatever we will call aberration or abruption in the climatic or environmental factor, that is called as a stress condition. That is, stress is any change in the surrounding environment that disrupt the homeostasis. Now we are linking the homeostasis to the environmental condition. We know homeostasis means maintaining the stability in a simple way. Stress is nothing but the factors which are harming to maintain the homeostasis in the plants. So that is the thing. So when there is a abruption in the climatic condition, what the plants will do, they have to get adjust with the abrupted condition or the stress condition. So they will adopt or they will make changes within them so that they can survive in the stress condition. There will be a gene expression change in the gene expression. There will be some of the genes, protein, then there will be physiological adaptation. We will look in the coming slides. Now, what are the different stress factors we are coming across in the day-to-day survivability of the plants? So, as I told, we are having the abiotic stress, then we are having the biotic stress. Abiotic means nothing but it's a non-living things. Biotic is nothing but it's a living things. It is included the pathogens, insect, whatever the animals which are browsing the plants or the any of the crops. Coming to the abiotic stress, we are having extremities in the temperature. Maybe the high temperature or it may be the lower temperature. High temperature may lead the desiccation, whereas the lower temperature may be having the chilling effect or it may be having the freezing conditions. Then we are having the water stress condition. That is the second abiotic main important thing, where it is having a waterlogged, drought, or the flooding situation. So these are also considered as a chemical abiotic stress. We are having the physical abiotic stress and chemical and oxidative stress in the abiotic components. So physicals are having the light condition, that is the extreme temperature. Then also we are having the pollutants and pollutions occurring in the growing period or growing area or the environment. Water stress and salinity and nutrients are coming in the chemical abiotic stress. Again, the water is considered the drought. So there are bifurcation or the further classification as we gone into the deeper of the stress period or the stress climatic condition. Drought is again classified the physiological and the physical drought. The basic difference between the physical drought and the physiological drought, the physical drought is nothing but there is no water or there is no availability of the water for the plants. So that is a physical. Physically, there is no water. But when comes the physiological drought, what we define or express is even though water is available in the nature or the environment or the soil media, plants are unable to uptake the or intake the water. So that is called as an internal drought within the plant. That may be the mechanism or it may be the negative for the plant growth. So this is two kinds of the drought, and we are having the waterlogged condition where it is or the flooding condition that is having a condition like normoxic or hypoxic or anoxic condition, whereas one is the presence of oxygen, one is totally absence of the oxygen, one is a low oxygen. So these are different kinds of the flooding. So when there is no oxygen, I think there is a marine student who may be working on the mangroves. So they might have seen the mangroves which are adopted to the waterlogged condition. So when the plants are submerged or they are under the water or they are standing in the water, there will be formation of parenchyma instead of more of the parenchyma and xylematic tissue. So that is the adaptation mechanism the plants are having for the flooding condition, and internal nodal development, internal node elongation will be there. So these are the some of the important adaptation mechanisms of flooding. Then we are having the saline condition. So salinity is nothing but the increase in the pH and nutrient will be more. For example, because of the more application of the fertilizers or accumulation of the nutrients, what will happen? What will happen? The soil may turn into a highly salinic component where it reduces the plant growth as well as including the germination and the early development stage, and the nutrient extremities the limit the growth and biomass accumulation when there is a less nutrient available for the plant. For example, the scrub jungles, as well as if you are going to the low nutrient areas. So this is the extremity we are having. Then we are having the radiation, and followed by the allochemicals. Allochemicals are nothing but the chemicals which are used for the agricultures or other activities for the management practices like weedicides, herbicides, pollutant, and pesticide, whatever the other chemical components which hampers the plant growth are considered as a allochemicals. And then, as I told, biotic stress is nothing but the living things that is having the browsing animals like cattle. Then we are having the pathogen and pest. So here, after understanding what are the stress conditions or the what are the different stresses we are having, we will look into some of the things. We will try to understand what is basic difference between acclimatization and adaptation. So there's a two term called acclimatization and adaptation. Acclimatization is nothing but it's a short-term rapid adjustment of an organism to the changing environment. For example, if there is a sudden drought or non-availability of water, what exactly plants will do? So that is the acclimatization for immediately for surveillance, what it will be planning for the further days until it will get the water condition. That is called as acclimatization. It's short term and it's a temporary solution for the stress condition. Next, we are having adaptation. That is nothing but the long term and permanent adjustment. Where this exactly happen, it is an intrinsic adjustment. For example, that may happen at the genetic level and that may be carried forward for the further generation of the plants. So that is the adaptation. For example, so the plants which are got adopted to the deserts, the cactus maybe, the plants which are having the highly critic formation. So these are the adaptation mechanism that has been changed throughout its environmental factor and evolutionary process. That is called as adaptation. It's a permanent solution for the plant. Acclimatization is nothing but the situation where it is getting adopted to the short term period with the temporary solutions. Okay. Then we are having a mechanism called avoidance and tolerance. When the stress is occurring, the plants will go for the avoidance or the tolerance. It may be the acclimatization or adaptation mechanism. Avoidance is nothing but simply avoiding the situation. When the, for example, plants prevent the damage, simply avoiding the reason uh, for the damage. What's happening now when there is a condition where it is having the high heat, then what immediately it will do, it may roll down its foliage or there will be a reduction in the foliage. So these are all the avoidance mechanism. For example, the plants with widely spread and deep root system not damaged by drought even through exposed to the prolonged drought. So it is having the mechanism of deep taproot system so that it can capture the moisture content from the deep of the ground and it can withstand for the drought condition. Similarly, for the frost condition, if there is a frost condition every year happening, what foliage will be formed? You may heard about the pines. They're having the needle shaped foliage instead of they're having the exposed foliage or the open shaped foliage. Why it is because if the frost or when there is a frost event occurs, there is no chance of settling down of the frost in the foliage so that it can easily drop down from the crown. So that is a mechanism, avoidance mechanism. Instead of undergoing and striving for the surveillance, let us go for the avoidance. That is the one kind of the expression and adaptation mechanism. They're having hairy leaf surface repel the herbivorous insect larva. For example, if you're having some of the Cucurbitaceae family, they are having the hairy leaf structure, or there will be development of the spines or the needles on the bark as well as the surface of the leaves. So that is a simple mechanism to avoid the pathogens as well as the herbivorous plants. When there is a formation of the needle, what will happen? That may create irritation to the herbaceous browsing animals. So that is the avoidance mechanism. Then we are having the tolerance. For example, the plants minimize the damage by some of the tolerance mechanism. How it will go for even though if it is having the foliage highly open up and some kind of resistance or the hardiness to the intrinsic activity, the development of the enzymes, biochemicals, or development of the uh, aromas, for example, they are not having any of the leaf structures for avoiding the browsing animals. But when they chew the leaves, that may create some pungent smell, or it may create to the irritation to the animals. So that is a tolerance mechanism. Instead of avoidance, it will undergo for the stress, but it can tolerate and it can develop to the. Okay, after knowing different kind of the mechanism, that adaptation, acclimatization, then how the avoidance and tolerance mechanism, what are the different alterations in the parameters, in the morphological, in the physiological, biochemical, as well as at the genetic level, they have undergone for some of the important changes. The plant themselves make some changes in order to avoid the stress condition. So morphological means we all know about how it look like in a drought condition. If I'm taking an example, what plants immediately do, there is a change in the phenological events. Immediately, if plant recognize the stress signals, when there is a reduction in the moisture content, immediately it will give a signal for the abscission of the leaves. Why? If there is a less number of foliage or reduction in the foliage, the photosynthesis and transpiration will be reduced, so that escape of the moisture from the plant cells will be reduced. So this is the morphological adjustment plants are having towards the stress. So first one is the morphological growth response. In that one is a phenotypic plasticity. That means that may shed the leaf so that the foliage percentage will be reduced and it can get escaped from the stress condition. Then we are having the early leaf shedding. So if the plant recognize the signals, how the plants will be get to know when there is a reduction in the moisture or whatever the condition, they all will get the stress signals through the leaf molecules or the root. There will be exchange of the information from the microbes to the signal conditions. Okay. So if the early leaf shedding that reduces the water loss during the drought condition, then if after getting the sufficient amount of the moisture, then they may be having the resprouting ability. Once the plant has been browsed by the animal, they may resprout from the root or stem buds recovery after the stress condition. The same thing is adopted for the flowering. For flower induction in most of the tree species, for example, horticultures and the forestry tree species, what people are doing, they will create a stress condition by removing part of the live bark, live wood, or go for the strangulation. So that when the stress is created, the plant may believe or plant may get messages like message signal messages that they have to complete their reproductive phase in an early stage. So this is the mechanism that the morphological changes will happen, and this is one kind of adaptation. Then we are having the physiological adaptation by reducing the transpiration, by reducing the photosynthesis, because all the activities are involving the water availability, and they need water molecule for turning into the food molecule as well as forming the reducing the temperature. So transpiration is a mechanism that can cool the temperature so that foliage can actively photosynthesis to provide the food material. So there will be osmotic adjustment will be there, and stomatal regulation will be there. Basically, stomatal regulation is considered as controlling the whole physiological condition, where it will affect the PS2, that is photosystem 2, because the light, the heat, they affect directly the photosynthesis. Photosynthesis happens in the PS2, in the chroma. So this is called as photo inhibition will be there. If the heat is increased, PS2 is very sensitive to the light and the heat. PS2 will be get damaged due to the highlight. So once the PS2, that is the photosystem 2, get damaged, it will go for the reaction center damage. If reaction center damage is got damaged, then it is directly going to the molecular response, that is that is directly going to the, this is a physiological parameter, physiological adjustment what will happen. So then we are having the transpiration rate, chlorophyll, because chlorophyll is the one which is trapping the light source which is responsible in the photosynthesis. So these are the physiological adaptation mechanisms plants are having. Then we are having the biomolecules response. When there is a reduction in the water content, guys, don't worry much of the things in the I don't know how deeply you know about the physiology and the biochemical. When we will discuss the result of my own study, I will try to get clarified. So then what is the biochemical and molecular things will happen here means, when there is non-availability of water, the plant cell has to be adjusted with the osmotic condition. So there will be production of osmoregulatant, mainly like proline, glycine, butane, and superoxide dismutase, catalase, peroxidase. These are all the important osmoregulators. Then we are having the proteins called heat shock proteins, that is HSP, mainly of HSP 70 family. That is very, very important for the maintenance of the turgidity in the cells. Only the concept here we have to understand is, when the plants are undergoing for the such condition, that has to be survived for maintain the homeostasis. For that one, these antioxidants will help for maintenance the turgidity. Once the turgidity is maintained at the leaf level or the leaves cell level, then it can maintain the whole health of the plants. That is the only one thing. So once these physiological and biochemical changes happen, that may reach the protein level. Once the proteins started to develop, or once new protein molecules started to generate within the plants, so that will ultimately going to change in the genes. So proteins are nothing but they are going to the gene, and it is going to the molecular or DNA level, where the genes are getting generated or new proteins will be get generated when there is a osmotic adjustment, or when there is a like D1 degradation. There will be toxic products developed within the plant cells, like ozones. Then we are having the peroxidase. For scavenging those things, we will be having an antioxidant defense. That is the only thing we have to understand here. These are the important things we have to understand. One is the morphological stress adaptation mechanism we are having. Then we are having the physiological adaptation. Then we are having the biochemical adaptation. These all will be lead into the ultimate molecular response, that is going to the permanent change or the permanent adaptation technology in the or the technique in the plants. Okay, this is basically I'm talking about the high temperature. What exactly temperature will do? As I discussed, it may cause the cellular injuries, even that may lead to the cell death. As I told, the mm, some alteration or a minimal change in the light will affect the photosystem 2, and photosystem 2 is the basic thing for whole enzymatic activity or the plant growth and development. So if once the PS2 damage due to the high temperature, what will happen? Whole the biochemical intrinsic activity will be damaged. So I will not go depth into the temperature here. What we are talking about, the protein degradation may happen because of the high temperature. Some of the proteins presence in the cell may be degraded, some of the fats may be get degraded. That will increase the stress condition at the cell level, so increase the fluidity of the membrane lipids. In the cytoplasma there will be excess lipids may get abrupted. So these are the important intrinsic activity due to the higher temperature in the environment. So we are having the mechanism where the plants can avoid and tolerate. The first and foremost thing is the changing in the leaf orientation. This is a simple activity you can do in your rooms only. So keep the plants in the pots, any of the uh, plants you can keep in the pots, and don't irrigate the plants. Heat stress or the drought stress, the mechanism for the avoidance and tolerance will be same. Okay, so keep some pots. You compare two pots without irrigating and two pots with irrigating every day. So what will happen? The unirrigated or without watering the plants will start shedding their leaf, but they will be live. That is the first and foremost thing what plants will do. They will reduce the foliage or they will change the orientation of the leaves. So that is avoidance of the mechanism. So here what they're avoiding? They're avoiding the higher transpiration as well as the photosynthesis. That is the first and foremost thing plants do. They will shed their leaves. Then there is a concept of transpirational cooling. When there is high temperature or when there is excess of heat, what plants will do, if the more availability of water is there in the environment or the soil media, they will start to absorb more and more water and they will increase the transpiration. So what is the transpiration? And in the process of transpiration, water molecules will be put out of the stomatal activities. So if the transpiration increased, the cooling effect of the leaf will be increased. So what the plants will do, they will go for the transpiration cooling. They will absorb the more water to the roots. They will increase the transpiration and they will try to cool the environment, philo environment. Philo is nothing but the plant foliage. The leaf surrounding will be kept cool so that it can escape from the higher heat. So that is the second mechanism. Then they are having the important thing, that is the stomatal closure and leaf rolling. Okay, they can't do the transpiration cooling. So what they have to do, they have to reduce the absorption of the light as well as they have to reduce the transpiration or the photosystem. So immediately what they do, they will go for the concoction of this tomato or they will go for the leaf rolling. You might have seen most of the heat condition, plants start to roll their leaf. So that what happen? The leaf area available for the transpiration and photosystem will be reduced. And the early maturation is a system. For example, if the plant for the crop, for example, you'll take the example of red gram. If the red gram, the duration period is 4 months. If the plants are getting the drought signal or the heat signal, what they will do, they will start putting effort on their reproductive phase. I will take a simple example of red gram. For example, red gram's maturity or the reproductive stage will start after 4 months of sowing, if we are taking. But if experienced repeated heat, excessive temperature, and the excessive water less condition, then what they do, the plant may, through the signals, the plant may stop its vegetative growth and it will enter into the reproductive phase in 2.5 months. This particular thing is called as early maturation in the plants. So what they will do, they will get a signal that they think and they believe we may die in a sooner phase but we have to come across the next generation. We have to produce the next generation so that plant will stop the vegetative growth and they will go for the early maturation and they will complete the reproduction, because every living organism having the same motto except the human beings. So everything is like we have to enjoy the generation and we have to create the new generation. That is the only thing. They are not greedy of tomorrows. They have to produce only. They have to reproduce only, so that they will go for the early maturation. Then coming to the tolerance in the intrinsic level, there is a lipid membrane composition to avoid the osmoregulation, and protein synthesis will be there. Transcriptional control is nothing but the genetic level changes will be there. Expression of the stress protein, accumulation of osmoprotectant, and these are the some of the things. And I will discuss something like hydrophyte, mesophyte, and the xerophyte. In the water condition, when there is availability of much water and when there is not available, when there is no availability of the water, the plants are get adopted to the some conditions. Okay, this is the last slide for today's discussion. So hydrophyte is nothing but the plants which are get or got adopted to the waterlogged condition or the place where it is having the plenty of the waters. The for example, the hydrilla or the lotus, they live near the water or they will live within the submerged condition. A plant that grows either partially or totally submerged in water, the structure is not well developed, but the only one, the for example here is they are mainly having the parenchyma, and if you are looking into the stem morphology, they will be having the holostem or with lesser modification it will be having. So that is the hydrophytes. So these are the modification throughout the evolutionary process. Then we are having the mesophyte. They are most of the crops, whatever we are looking, whatever the plants we are looking, they are the land dwelling plants. When there is a availability of the water, they will capture the water. And we are having the xerophytes, that plants are growing in the arid climatic condition or where there is a very very lesser, even the rainfall less than 100 to 80 millimeter. So they are cactus and agave, the desert plants. Then there are some plants called avoiders, water savers, water storers, and water spenders. Water savers are nothing but when there is a plenty of the water, it will try to absorb more waters and they will capture the water and they will store in the different forms, the bulbs, for example, the cactus. Sorry, water savers are nothing but at a deeper level. So they will save the water. Water storers are in the different parts of the plants. They will start to store the waters. And spenders are nothing but when there is availability of the water, they will spend more of the water. When there is a condition of the drought, they will try to keep inactive. For example, you might heard about the Selaginella. Yes, Selaginella is the one like a catfish. When there is no water, it will get inactivated and they will wait for the moist period or the rain condition. So these are the different adaptive mechanisms throughout the evolution plants had been. So I hope so far whatever the things, that is a very general thing. So tomorrow onwards, tomorrow we will discuss about what exactly and how we proven the uh, things by understanding the physiology as well as the what biochemical aspects. Yes, I hope that is enough for today. Yes, Melvin, is it fine? If you want to go very slowly, tomorrow we will start a bit early. Melvin,
Yes, sir.
yes, you got something?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I want to hear from others also. If you're having any doubt, pick two or three questions.
Hello, Shint, and maybe as long as they don't respond, what we can do, we can call their name and ask the questions.
No
Maybe
problem.
you
You
can
can
do
make
that.
questions ready for tomorrow's.
No, no, Ashton, maybe from today's sessions, then you can ask them some of the basic questions. You already teach them. So you can randomly pick somebody and ask them the questions. What
No,
is
I
the
will.
stress? Maybe I think I need to do that tomorrow at least.
Yes,
Okay.
I think you can ask them
Yeah.
because
So
this
can
is my
anybody tell
first
what is
interaction.
stress? Yeah. Can anybody tell what is stress and type of plants? Hmm? Anyone? I think today
I,
they are not ready, but tomorrow I will definitely ask the questions. So
okay.
please be prepared. Okay. Hmm?
I think tomorrow can we start with early?
7? Do you want to make it 7?
Okay, no, we will go according to interns, whatever the
Okay,
time
but
they are okay for.
no, normally we put it at 7:30, like our all the meetings. And
Okay,
if you want to change, then we can put it at 7 because it's Sunday.
okay,
So
then
then most
it's
of
fine.
them, yeah, 7.
7.
Let me think, yeah, 7. So I think we have few students, and can anyone tell about the stress? What is a stress? Hmm? What is climate? So maybe I will call one name. Just uh Murali. Murali?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what is stress?
Stress it is based on the conditions, sir. Based on the temperature or salinity. Based on the factors, it will cause the stress.
Okay, actually is it right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, it's
you
any
have to tell.
unfavorable condition to the plants. That's all.
Yeah, yeah, then that's great. He mentioned some of the different type of plants. So can anybody tell at least two different type on the basis of where they lives or where they grows? Anyone? Like Amita? Amita? Amita?
Hi, sir. I don't know. I think I missed that portions because I am outside. So
Okay.
I don't hear almost first part of this session.
Yeah,
And
but that
I'm
that was on the last part, almost the last. Okay.
sorry, sir. I didn't know. I don't
Oh,
know.
okay. Okay,
Okay,
then no
okay.
problem. Ashant, could you able to share the slide? One of our um,
Yeah, yeah, okay. Tomorrow,
yeah.
tomorrow I will make it. After completing my whole session, I will share the things.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I need
Mr.
Can I tell?
a genuine feedback whether you
Yeah.
people are following or I have to make it simpler or slower. Because whatever we discussed today is very simple thing, I feel, because we are from the background of the plant science. So we feel these
Mhm.
are all very, very simple things, whatever discussed in the plus twos and BSc level.
Mm. Okay.
Yes, I need a
Yeah, you can
prompt
give it.
feedback.
Yeah. Yes. Just type your comments. Like if you have to improve something or like reducing the speed or something, you can just text in the chat box. So he will do accordingly. That's what I believe. Okay.
You can drop the questions or you can drop the feedback. Whatever the things you want to discuss here, you can drop, because ultimately thing is that whatever we are discussing here, the effort of Vishnu as well as mine, it should not go like fragile, at least something you have to get it from that. That's all.
Yeah. Okay, as
Yes.
maybe it's very new for you, that might be the reason. Like some of them are from zoology background, so that might be the reason. But it's okay. You have to learn everything, then only you can survive in this very competitive world. Okay, is that right, Dr. Asher?
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, then thank you so much for today's session, and hopefully we will continue our sessions tomorrow as well. But the time will be 7 o'clock. Okay, and maybe I will share the link again by changing the time. Okay,
Okay.
okay, and
Okay,
I think
guys, again, I'm repeating the thing. If you're having any of the doubts or any of the comments, you can drop here directly or you can directly talk to Vishnu sir and he will communicate with me. Okay.
yeah, okay. Thank
Okay,
you so
then
much.
thank you everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.